Before I start today's video, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like this video, please click the like button. Today I am walking into Fantasyland, and we're going to discuss why the Bob Iger Studios failures are going to cost them a lot more than the $1.5 billion that they cost them in 2023. Now, if you'll notice here, we're walking through and over here on the left past the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which is themed from Cinderella, you're going to see Snow White's Scary Adventure. Over here on the right, you're going to see Peter Pan's Flight. And if we keep going on the right, actually, before we do that, let's go straight ahead. Then you've got King Arthur's Carousel. And finally, over here further on the right, excuse me, we have Mr. Toad's Wild Ride coming up here. There we are. And then if you look ahead here, you have Dumbo. And then further here on the right, you have Storybook Land. Now, and of course, you have Casey Jr.'s Circus Train. Now, all these things have one thing in common. These are all rides that are based off of animated features for Disney. When you do it in reverse and you try to make a movie off an attraction, it doesn't work so well. Everybody's going to say, but what about Pirates? Yes, Pirates is the one-off. How about the bombs that were Haunted Mansion twice, Jungle Cruise, and Tomorrowland? They all bombed big time at the box office. So, what you need is you need the IP, you need the movie, you needed the animated feature first. And then you build the attraction off of that. But those things have to be popular. What we're having right now is a bunch of Bob Iger movies that are not very popular. And therefore, you're not going to build any attractions off of them. Bob Iger said recently that they're going to be IP mining. No, what they're doing is they're sequel mining. And that's not going to work for the parks because you already have rides for all these movies that they're making sequels about. And the important part is that when you don't have successful IPs, you can't sell merchandise. Merchandise is what drives the parks, not attendance, not feet in the park, not visiting, and not riding rides. The parks make nothing off of that. The parks make off two things: merchandising and money. By the way, here's Pinocchio's Daring Journey. So, because Disney has nothing right now that is successful, I mean, Bob Iger's killed two of the most lucrative IPs ever. He's killed Marvel, and he's killed Star Wars. I talked about that briefly in the last video, that Star Wars is basically dead and they have no merchandise coming out for the Alkalite and there's no interest in doing the Droid Factory and doing Savi's Workshop. Those are two of the most lucrative things in Galaxy's Edge, and they're making virtually no money off of it every day because nobody's signing up to do these things. To explain why you don't make money off of people coming into the park, Disneyland is driven by its key holders. There are probably over 1 million key holders for Bob Iger Land and Bob Iger Resort. If, let's say, you are an Imagine key holder and you paid $1,649 for your key, and you go to the park, let's say 45 days a year, your average cost of admission is $36.65. To put that in context, in 1999, it cost $39.39 to go to Disneyland. So you are basically getting into the park for a cheaper price than it was in 1999 for one park, and you're getting access to both parks. The second thing is an Inspired key holder also doesn't pay for parking. So $35 for parking times 45 times a year, that's $1,575 Disney is not getting out of you. So that is a lot of lost money. So how do you make that up? You do it by per capita spending. You need those key holders to spend money in the parks. You need them to eat here. You need them to buy things here, merchandise. Right now, that is not happening. You can look around here and you can see all these people. And you know what I don't see? I don't see any bags. I see people waiting in lines, but I don't see them with bags. I don't see them with any merchandise. A lot of these people, maybe a pair of ears, no shirts. Yeah, ears. Ears are popular, okay? A lot of ears. But honestly, there's a lot of stuff here. They are not wearing Disney merchandise. Actually, you do get to see some here. But there's also a lot of people that are not purchasing anything. Zero, zip, nada. And that is the problem. All right. I've been of the theory that Disney has driven away a lot of the families. All right, there are a good amount of families here, but in days past, you would never see virtually any single people standing around, walking around without a big gaggle of kids. And of course, I'm in Fantasyland, so the one place that should have a bunch of kids is Fantasyland. So this is where the heavy population is. But one thing is, I'm right next to Bippity Boppity Boutique, and guess what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing kids dressed up as princesses. I just saw one, I think. So that's one of the money makers, huge money makers here, and nothing's going on there. Like I said, the things going down with Star Wars. Marvel is not selling well outside of the spider bots. And the main reason why is that you have traded a lot of families that have abandoned Disney, and what has replaced them are people that, let's just say, are extremely happy when June rolls around. And the other thing you need to know about those people in particular, a certain group of them that are not at the front of the designation, but at the end of the alphabet mafia, they're not financially affluent, and they don't spend very much money in the parks at all. So, what do? They ride rides, they take up that space, and nothing else. It's a poor investment for Disney to have key holders like that.
You're the actually gentleman in the red, hon,
The next thing on top of that is that they don't eat here. A lot of times they bring their own food. Again, they can't afford to eat here. Last thing I'm going to say on this is that they don't even sell out their own thing. The last time I looked, they're having 2 Pride Days in later June. Only one of them is sold out. And last year, the Pride gear hung out until August when Disney finally removed it from the shelves because it wasn't selling. So they don't even buy their own gear. And with the unpopularity of everything that Disney is putting out these days and what Bob Iger is basically doing by driving away families, eventually the parks, they're already feeling it somewhat. Like today, it's nowhere near capacity. It's nowhere near Disney's capacity, which isn't the real capacity. And this is a Saturday. It hurts the parks in that way, and eventually it will get to a point where the parks will stop being 70% of the total income for the Bob Iger Company. That is the real problem, is that right now the parks are 70% and the movie studios are about 17%. But when the movie studios start to drag, it starts to drag everything else. You look at Epic Universe, all new IPs, all new lands, everything like that. Well, first time they're doing a park with those IPs. That's all new stuff. What's Magic Kingdom bringing out? Tiana's Boreau Adventure. That's all that's coming out against it. They're going to do some refurbishment, I hear, and technically Tiana's Boreau Adventure is a refurbishment too. They're just refurbishing the ride. So people are going to be going to Epic Universe in droves. Magic Kingdom is already down probably 15% in attendance this year, and who knows how much in spending. This park is starting to go down too. Bob Iger Resort is starting to go down. And like I said, eventually it's just going to free fall. And these parks can fail, and they probably will. And I think I'm going to wrap up my video here. If you listen to the end, I want to thank you very much. And as my father told me when I was 18, get out.